This video will demonstrate how to complete the first assignment for 7th grade tech class, which is to make a quiz game. As with most things for the technology class, we can always get started from the classroom page. So here it is at technology.stjohnschool.org. If you can't remember that, then you can always find it on the school website where it's listed under the classrooms page as technology. My page has got a menu on the left here with links to many of the important pages where you can find information to help you be successful in this class. One link will be to the assignment directions. Let's take a look at that. So the quiz game, here's the assignment requirements, some tips, minimum requirements, and then some things you can do to demonstrate that you're exceeding expectations for this course, some kind of bonus features, which I won't be showing in this video, but you can ask me if you want help getting started with any of those. Okay, for this assignment, I've made a template which you can start with and do a remix on the Scratch website. So that template is kept on our Class Studio, which again, there's a link right here on our classroom page. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, take us there. So here I am logged in as my test account to the Scratch website. I'm going to do this. I'm going to click follow to follow the Class Studio. I'm now following the Class Studio. I'll get notifications as other students make updates. Here's my completed trivia quiz example. We're not going to look at that at the moment, but we're going to start with the template, which is kind of a almost blank starting point to get you started with this assignment. In the instructions here, it explains that you should do a remix of this. It's got a link to the assignment, and it tells you that you're going to have to make a bunch of changes to this to make it work and to meet the minimum requirements of the assignment. So let's go ahead and get started with that. We can click See Inside. Now the key thing is you're going to want to click the Remix button up here, Remix. Save a copy of this project and add your own ideas. So I'm going to click the Remix button. Here, now I'm going to make this maybe a little bit smaller. That's not going to work. Here. I'm going to increase the zoom level. Can I do, oh, here we go. There. Now hopefully you can follow along a little bit better. Okay, so one of the first things I'm going to do, just to get it out of the way, is change the backdrop, because that's one of the requirements. So I'm going to choose a backdrop. I'm just going to choose this one. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to switch the sprite out. So we're not supposed to use a scratch cat. We're supposed to use one of these another sprite. You could draw a sprite. You could use one of these. I'm just going to use, let's see, who should I use? I'll use Cassie. Okay, so there's Cassie. I'll move her over there. Now the Scratch Cat has got some scripts to get started. So let's copy these scripts over to Cassie. You can copy scripts from one sprite to another just by dragging them onto the sprite. It doesn't really show that that's happening, but when we click on Cassie, here we see she's got the same script. So I am going to, was there anything else on the cat I need to save? Not really, he's got his meow, but we don't really need that. So I'm going to shift click and do delete on the cat. So now we got Cassie here. This is where most of the logic for the assignment happens, is on, we'll call Cassie the quiz master, right? She's the one who's calling the shots for this quiz. I'm going to break this script apart into 3 parts, okay? We can think about this assignment as having 3 parts: an introduction, where we initialize the score and give some instructions to the player. Then we've got the main part of the game, where we're going to ask questions and evaluate the answers and change the score and give the player feedback. And then at the end, after all the questions have been answered, we're going to give some feedback to the player on how they did. So that's this ending piece here. So we got a variable here called score, which, there it is. You can make a variable under data here, and you can do things like set it or change it or show it. So initially the score is 0. We're going to say hello. And it says game instructions go here. I'm just going to update that because that's one of the requirements for the assignment. Answer each question by typing the letter for the answer. Okay, and then here we've got our first question. So the question here says, put your question here. That's not a question, so I'm going to update this. So let's say, who is Batman's sidekick? And we're going to wait. We're going to wait for an answer. If we look, this is a blue sensing block. So if we look under the sensing blocks, here's something. So there's this special variable called answer. Whenever you use the ask block and wait and get an answer, that whatever the person types in is always stored in this special variable called answer. Now you got to be careful with it, because next time you do an ask block and get another answer, it'll change what's in here. So you need to handle that value, or store it in another variable if you need to keep it for safekeeping, which we don't for this particular assignment. So we're going to say show answers to question 1. We'll get to that in a second. The question is, who's Batman's sidekick? And wait. So let's take a look at this. Show answers to question 1. So here's our other sprite, is the answers, okay? And the way this is going to work, you could do it a couple different ways, but the way I suggest to do it is you have a costume that has text that shows the answers to each of your questions. So obviously none of these is who is Batman's sidekick. So I'm going to make a new costume. We can't choose it from the library, because that's just this stuff. And none of those is going to have the answer to our question. So we're going to paint it. We're going to use the paint tool to paint a new costume. And it's real simple. We're just going to use the text tool and click in here. I'm going to say A. Who's Batman's sidekick? The Joker. Okay, that's a wrong answer. B. Robin. C. The Penguin. D. John Cena. Okay, so the correct answer is B. The tricky thing with the text tool is when you're typing it, you can edit it, and you can change things around. But once you click out of it, you kind of stop editing, and then if you want to fix something, you got to use the eraser tool or basically start over. So try to get it right the first time while you're editing. Okay, now I click out of it. And there's my answers to my first question. Now I can get rid of this thing here. So I'm going to click the X button, to the X there, to delete it. Okay, so now here we've got our answers, and let's look at the scripts on this. Okay, so it's got a few simple things. So when the project starts, we're going to hide whatever the answers are. Then it's got when I receive this message, show answers to question 1, switch to costume 1, and show it. That's got this one to hide answers when we want to hide it. So we're going to be duplicating this little block for each of our questions. But let's take a look. Let's make sure that our costume is really called costume 1, because I made a new one. So it's called costume 2 now. So I'm going to, I could rename it, but let's just do this. Let's do this. So now we've got, let's go back to Cassie. So she's saying, who's Batman's sidekick? We're showing the answers right here. And then we're going to hide the answers after we collect the answer. And then we're going to evaluate. So this is where we evaluate if they answered correctly. If the answer is B, so the template happened to have the right answer, you may have put the right answer in C, in which case you'd have to change this. If the answer is B, which is correct, then we're going to have Cassie say, correct. Let's make this more interesting. You got it. And we're going to change the score by 1. So whatever the score was before, it's now 1 higher. It was 0. Now it's 1. If they got the wrong answer, then we say incorrect, and of course we do nothing to the score. Okay, so let's wire all this up, and I'm not going to connect this, but let's run our project now. So, hello. Answer each question by typing the letter. Who's Batman's sidekick? Okay, this is a little bit obscured, so I'm going to, when we go to edit, I'm going to move this over a little bit. I'm going to say B and enter, and it's you got it. Okay. And if we wanted to, we could show the score on the screen all the time by clicking the checkbox there. Score is now 1. Okay, so this is all good. So we got a really good first question. Now we just need to repeat this. So I'm going to hold the Shift button and click on this at the top and say duplicate. Look at that. It's like magic. So now we don't want to show question 1 again. Let's do a new message. We're going to say show answers to question 2. And okay, and what's our second question going to be? Let's see. Who is the governor of Washington State. Okay, and then we're going to hide the answers. Let's say this time, let's put the correct answer into D, and we'll say, you are very well informed for 2 seconds. And if they're wrong, we're going to say, nope. Okay, now let's look over. So we've asked a new question. We got to provide some new answers. So let's go back to our answer sprite, to its costumes. Now, what did we say first? We're going to do some things to move this over a little bit. Let's fix that up while we're here. So I am going to select all of that. And now, I think I can grab it. Do I grab it here? No, that's to rotate it. Okay, so if I grab it, I got to click like right on that colored part. There we go. So if I drag it over a little bit, there, it'll be positioned a little bit better. And let's do another new costume. And let's call it, let's say, A. Mike McGinn. That's a wrong answer. B. Kshama Sawant. I think that's how you spell her name. C. Mike O. These are all local Seattle politicians. And finally, we say D. Jay Inslee, who is the governor of the state of Washington. And okay, so there. Now you'll note here, I deleted costume 1 before, so it started over the numbering. So this one's now costume 1. Now I could change that. I could how would I change it? Oh, here's where I could change it. So let's call this governor answers, just to make it totally descriptive. Okay, and now here we're going to do the duplicate thing again. So I'm going to do shift click on the top of here, duplicate. Okay, that was awesome. So now I'm going to say when I get the show answers to question 2, then we're going to switch costume to governor answers. Isn't that nice how it keeps it in sync? Okay, so let's look back at Cassie again, at her scripts. Let's wire these things up. And I'm not going to test it right now. We're going to go on to the last part. The last thing you need to do is provide different feedback if the player gets a high score versus a low score. So we've already got some feedback if they get a good score, greater than 3, then we're going to say, well done. How about we change that? You are a smart cookie. And we're going to do the duplicate trick again here. So we're going to say, this time, we can't use, let's not use that greater than. We're going to go up, it's green, right? So we know we got to look in the green area for a different option. So we're going to say if the score is less than 3, what if it is 3, though? What if it is 3? We're going to say if it's less than 4, which would include the case where it's 3. We're going to say, you did okay, I guess, frowny face. Okay. Try to motivate them to play again and do better. Now let's wire this up, and we'll go ahead and run our program. Hello. Answer each question by typing the letter for the correct answer. Who is a Batman's sidekick? We'll say the Joker, A. Incorrect. Who is the governor of Washington State? Okay, again, I've got a little problem. Sometimes when you put these here, I can't see my whole answer for Kshama. I think that's how you say her name, Kshama Sawant. So I'm going to have to make a little adjustment there. So I'm going to say D, and you are very well informed. You did okay, I guess. Now, I haven't put all the questions in, so you really can't get a very high score. But I hope that by showing you that process of, if you can isolate just the stuff for a question. See, I could just duplicate this again, add another costume over to my answers to give a third set of answers, do a little bit of duplication here to put in the correct logic to receive the direction to show that. And I just repeat that process to get up to all my questions being in there. So I'm not going to show that just in the interest of time. I think you get the idea. Please go ahead, rewind, pause, try this project out or watch this video again so you can understand how to complete the assignment. Hopefully this was helpful.